remember this one afternoon. I was sitting in a park in a foreign country with my parents. It was one of those moments where every single thing felt unsafe. The language, the sounds, even the smell of the air. I had been traveling for a while and I felt a little out of place. As I sat there, I noticed a group of kids playing soccer nearby. They were laughing, shouting, completely lost in their game. They looked so different from each other, different appearances, different ages, and from the snatches of the conversation I could catch, they spoke in different languages too. But none of that had seemed to matter. And of course, me being me, I sat there like, well, I'm gonna sit this one out. I don't know the language or the rules. And honestly, I've got a questionable track record with sports. What truly struck me was how effortlessly they worked together. A boy who didn't speak the same language as the others motioned for a pass, and the ball flew to him. A girl tripped and fell, and a boy helped her up. It was their little world, and everyone fit right in. It was truly a world without borders. They didn't need words to communicate with each other. They understood each other through gestures, through the rhythm of the game. It is a little universe of their own where everyone had a place. Sitting there, I realized something profound, that they were all connected by something simple and pure, which was the shared joy of playing together. I sat there for a while, smiling a little at their energy, and then suddenly something inside me shifted. I felt this pull, this urge to join them. At first, I hesitated. I didn't know the language or the rules. But then again, I remembered that none of that had stopped them from connecting with each other. So, why should it stop me? I stood up, glanced at my parents, who gave me a small nod of encouragement, and I walked towards the group. A boy noticed me and kicked the ball in my direction. That was it. I was part of the game. No need for a language or a passport. In those few minutes of playing, I forgot about being in a foreign place. I forgot about the feeling like I didn't belong. All that mattered was the shared joy of playing together. It made me think that if a bunch of kids can create a borderless world in a park, what's stopping the rest of us? Maybe transformation starts with something simple as kicking a ball or being open with people no matter how different they seem. The first step is to decrease the barriers we have set in our own minds and connect with people by not judging them from where they are. Because in the end, we are all from the same world. Seriously, we could solve world problems if we just played a little more soccer. Today in history, we stand at an important point, one where we can imagine the world united as one humanity. Today, as we embark on the theme Transformation Reimagined, a world without borders, let us look back at history and learn from those who dared to dream of unity. Let's start with Alexander the Great, a name linked with ambition and vision. By the time he died in 323 BC, his empire stretched across 5.2 million square kilometers. But his greatness wasn't just about how much land he ruled, it was about how he brought people together. Throughout his life, he worked to blend the cultures of the East and the West. In fact, he held a large ceremony where over 80 generals married Persian women, and he found 70 cities where Greek, Persian, and Indian ideas mixed together, creating the Hellenistic Age, one where art, philosophy, and knowledge crossed boundaries. Centuries later, Emperor Ashoka gave us another example. After the brutal war of Kalinga, which left 150,000 people displaced and 100,000 people dead, Ashoka chose to stop spreading his empire through violence and instead chose to spread peace and kindness. His teachings reached away far places like China, Sri Lanka, and Thailand, promoting coexistence and unity. He showed us that greatness comes from fostering connections, not divisions. Despite these inspiring examples, our world today still remains divided. Over 70 million people have been forced to leave their homes due to wars and conflicts. And global military spending has hit $2.24 trillion in 2022. Meanwhile, 828 million people go to bed hungry every single night. This shows us that there's a lot of work which still needs to be done and the challenges we still need to be faced to create a world without borders. In our connected world, technology is already breaking some of these barriers. The internet connects over 5.4 billion people, and global trade has lifted a billion people out of poverty. However, this progress is uneven, as still a billion people don't have internet access. This shows us that digital borders still remain a big challenge. Today's borders are not just physical, they are ideological, economical, and digital. These invisible borders are just as powerful as the physical one. This is the time where everyone is faced with challenges, but there is still hope. The future isn't set in stone. We can change it. To achieve this, we need global governance which ensures fair representation and shared decision making. Economic integration must reduce inequalities and foster prosperity for all. Cultural exchange and education embraces a diversity while finding unity in shared values like empathy and respect. A borderless world may seem utopian, but it starts with small steps, cooperation, compassion, and a shared vision of a world where we're all united by one single thing, which is humanity. Throughout history, people have tried to challenge borders, sometimes through treaties and sometimes through sheer stubbornness. Take the Schengen Zone in Europe, for example. So basically, in 1985, a bunch of countries gathered up and were like, what if we stop checking borders? And it worked. Now, over 27 countries let people move freely. And this is proof that open borders don't lead to total chaos. And then there's the Zapatistas in Mexico, who have been doing their own thing since the 1990s. They've been running autonomous communities since a long time without much regard to national borders. They've essentially told the government, thanks, but no thanks. And again, there's Christiana in Denmark, which is really just a bunch of activists who took over an abandoned military base. These examples might be a Europe-wide agreement, or a revolutionary movement, or really just a bunch of determined hippie commune. These all show us that if we are united and persistent enough, the idea of a world without borders isn't so far-fetched. Now, let's think about what we could achieve in a world without borders. One, we could foster an exchange of ideas and opportunities, driving innovation and prosperity for all. We could unite to tackle climate change, which has already displaced 140 million people since 2022. This isn't just some dream, it is something we need to make happen. We must believe that what connects us as humans is greater than anything that divides us. We must take inspiration from leaders like Alexander and Ashoka. This may seem utopian, but it comes with small steps, cooperation, and even a little soccer. Okay, maybe not soccer, but you get the idea. When we break down these barriers, we don't just create a world without borders. We truly create a future without limits. Thank you.